Lightsy Jr. here, and we have a special guest, Mr. Matthew Hampton of the New Black Wall Street, a Black-owned business, a Black-owned, basically a strip mall that it's coming to the Atlanta, Georgia, Stone Mountain, Georgia area. Mr. Matthew is going to be talking to us about the New Black Wall Street and everything that his company AEI has to do with, and going on in Atlanta. Mr. Matthew, how are you doing today?
Jeff, we're doing great today here in Stonecrest, Georgia, and thank you for having us on this morning and having interest in this story.
Yes, sir. It's an amazing story. It's ironic. I actually saw this from a post that went viral on like the Shade Room or something that I had saw across somebody's Instagram story, and I was like, "Yo, the Shade Room is what it is," but I was like, "Man, this is actually really interesting." So I did like all I could to get in contact with you all. Thank you to Ms. Leslie who made this possible. But before we get into the New Black Wall Street and everything that you all have going on, I want to ask you about AEI, and that is the Allen Entrepreneurial Institute. And this is something from the videos and the pamphlets that you all sent me. It's something that is creating business owners or helping shaping the future entrepreneurs in our community of the future. Can you just talk to me about AEI and all that's going on with that organization?
Oh, definitely. The Allen Entrepreneurial Institute is an institute that was founded over 20 years ago by the Allen family with the leadership of our founder, Mr. Leicester Bill Allen, who is a minority entrepreneur. He's Black, and he made millions of dollars as one of the pioneers of the charter school industry. And so being in that industry, he was able to do really well. But also he saw the real need to teach our community the fundamentals of business. And so he put his money where his mouth is, and he created a 150-acre campus that has a private hotel. Oprah actually shoots Greenleaf in one of the mansions here. And this campus for the last 20 years, free of charge, has been introducing the concept of entrepreneurship to young people as early as middle school, high school. And we also sponsor, Mr. Allen gives out millions of dollars in scholarships for HBCU students to come here. And we also work with entrepreneurs from all over the continent of Africa. And so Mr. Allen's real theory is that the mindset is what you got to work on first, because money goes from the mind then to the pocketbook. And so he's been trying to teach young African-American students for the last 20 years how to develop that multi-millionaire mindset.
Wow, that's incredible. And also, Mr. Allen is someone who comes from like South Arkansas. Like, he's not someone from a lot of money, from what I understand from the videos. That's correct?
Yeah, actually, and I'm from Arkansas too. And so
okay.
As well as our publicist, Leslie Tops, is also from Arkansas. But that is true. Mr. Allen was actually born on a plantation in Dumas, Arkansas. And his family operated businesses in Dumas, Arkansas, but definitely he came from the South. And he built his fortune he pulled his own self up by his own bootstraps. And so, yeah, he didn't come from money. He came from a plantation,
Wow.
And he was able to ascend to some of the highest levels of wealth in the country.
Wow. Once again, I'm talking to Mr. Matthew Hampton of AEI, the Allen Entrepreneurial Institute. We're talking about Mr. Allen first, but we're going to get into their new venture, the New Black Wall Street. Please hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, because this is information everybody across the country needs to hear about, because he's about to drop a lot of information that's really going to be beneficial to our community. So, Mr. Hampton, the New Black Wall Street. It is a concept that was developed by you all. Just talk to me about the bringing of the New Black Wall Street and what exactly it's going to be taking place down in Stonecrest, Georgia.
Yeah, Mr. Allen was looking around the country at what was popular and how to really, how do we really get Black businesses to the next level? Our actual mission is to increase the number and size of minority and women-owned businesses throughout the United States and globally. And for us, that's not just a mission statement. That's something that we live by every day. And so this concept, as we saw the emergence of food halls and we saw the emergence of these markets that introduce small businesses, we said, well, there's not one that's really focused on minority entrepreneurs and really building those businesses. And so we saw an opportunity. We also feel like the country is at a place to where, I think systemic racism has become a little bit more prevalent with George Floyd. And we know that the country is looking for solutions. And we feel like entrepreneurship is an economic solution. We feel like it gives us an opportunity to bring our community together, but also around really focusing on how do we build stronger Black businesses. Because if you think about job growth, if you think about stabilizing our communities economically, your small businesses are where that happens. And so how do we create a hub, an epicenter for Black entrepreneurs to come together to sell their merchandise, to learn about new strategies to grow businesses? How do we bring that together? And we felt like this market gave us that opportunity, and coupled with our use of technology, we definitely feel like the market not only is a physical experience, but it also must be a digital experience, so that we can fully capitalize on where the market is today, and really where people are shopping and where commerce is happening. And so we feel like this is a solution that the country can follow, that also can be replicated in other communities, by taking down big boxes and creating these epicenters for Black folks to do business together. And also really not even just Black folks, but to focus on Black entrepreneurs, but for the entire community to come together and do business. And so this definitely is designed to be a diverse environment, to where we all work together and we all support and lift up Black businesses.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once again, I'm talking to Mr. Matthew Hampton of the AEI and of the New Black Wall Street. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. So, Mr. Hampton, when I've seen some of the images, and I hope that I could show some of the construction that's taking place. Like, this is not a small project. Like, this is a project that is going to put a lot of Black businesses to the forefront of an epicenter. Just talk to me about how many actual storefront brick and mortar stores or shops or food courts is going to take place, be a part of this new Black Wall Street.
Yeah, no, it is. So first is the Target was a super Target that now has come to market, and it was 125,000 square foot facility. Wow. It is 125,000 square foot facility. We will have in the market over 17 restaurant concepts that people will be able to come out and enjoy. We have 4 anchor restaurant experiences with the Gumbo Cafe, and Aaron's Gourmet Grocery Market. We'll have a gourmet experience, and Big Mama's Kitchen will be our soul food experience. And then we also have the Pink Lion Jazz Club experience. There will be event space there. And then ultimately the big attraction are the minority businesses that'll be located there. There'll be over 120 spaces in physical form under one roof, where you can go and support minority businesses. But even more importantly, one of the things that we discovered as we were looking at even some of our operations, we'll have the ability to service hundreds of more businesses through our operations, because many of these operators don't need a space, but they'll be consignment members, and they'll sell their products through our grocery stores, through our art galleries, through our gift shop and sundry shop. And so there's a real 360 experience there. And so while we, in a physical form, will have 180 shops, we will be servicing hundreds of entrepreneurs right there through our consignment program. And then through our virtual program, which is online, we'll be able to attract and work with entrepreneurs all over the world. And so we truly don't have any limitations when we combine all of what we're bringing together for this market.
Now, Mr. Hampton, just roughly, with all that information that you just laid out, how many jobs and or opportunities will this bring to not just the state of Georgia, but even Stonecrest in itself?
That's a great question. And this honestly, I know you're not supposed to do this in interviews, but I can't even answer that question. But when you think about jobs and small businesses providing 70% of the jobs that happen in this country, it's important that we not only start businesses, but that we grow those businesses.
Yes.
Because we can celebrate that there are a lot more Black entrepreneurs today. But when you really take those statistics and you peel them back, most of our businesses, almost, I think 60% of our businesses only have one employee. And that's a travesty, because we're not truly capitalizing on the opportunity that we have to put our people to work and have folks at full employment in this country. And so again, by lifting up our small businesses within our African-American communities, we know that we're going to create thousands of jobs. Wow. And so I got to figure that out. But I don't know the answer to that. But I certainly know that our goal is to see folks go from having 1 to 2 employees to having 3 to 4, and we can make great strides in our community.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Once again, I'm talking to Mr. Matthew Hampton of the new Black Wall Street that is taking place right down in Georgia. It's going to 125,000 square foot facility that is coming very, very soon. Sir, I also want to ask you, I know that Black Wall Street is something that means a lot to a lot of people. Talk to me about the choosing of the name, the choosing of bringing it back in 2021, what Mr. Allen and your team, how that all came about.
Yeah, well, actually, what's really important for folks to understand too is this is our proof of concept project. This project was actually birthed out of Mr. Allen's acquisition of over 300 acres of land right here in the Stonecrest, Georgia area that will serve as the new Black Wall Street International Village. So Mr. Allen's plans were a lot more ambitious than what we're doing.
It sounds like we lost your audio, Mr. Hampton. Can you hear me?
I can now. Are you?
Oh,
am
we
I
got
back?
you back. We got you
Okay.
back. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're talking about right now developing over 300 acres of new construction land that's all focused on how do we uplift our minority-owned businesses, right? But when Mr. Allen saw what happened after George Floyd, he saw the climate of the country. He said, Matt, we can be sitting around with architects for the next 3 years, or as we come up on this memorial of the 100-year burning of Black Wall Street, we can have something that we are proud of to introduce to the community. So about 6 months ago, he said, let's get this building built, let's renovate it, and let's show folks what we can do. And so this is actually just the prototype, if you would, to our larger development, which will be the 300 acres that will actually serve as the new Black Wall Street International Village. And so this is a huge project. The first step is the creation of this market and really demonstrating that we as African Americans can build a first-class environment, and we can do first-class business, and we can give folks great customer service, and we can be profitable at the same time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because wow, so like I said, I knew all of this information from watching the video, but we're talking about 300 acres of land, and this is just phase one of an overall, project that's going to take years to make. And what all, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but what all can we expect, or if you can give us any secrets of what will be coming to that new Black Wall Street village?
Well, prior to the pandemic, we were really looking at doing a high-rise hotel owned by Blacks. And so Mr. Allen has secured financing and resources to build that hotel and convention center. And then COVID happened. And so we did a bit of a pivot to look more at our multifamily, because we actually have a plan to do over 1,200 apartment complexes with commercial on the bottom that is owned in, again, the same model of right size for Black businesses. In Stonecrest, we're primed for an entertainment complex that includes amphitheater development. Also, with the emerging movie production industry, we feel like there's a studio play involved in this mix, along with just, again, increasing density in this community that's 95% African American.
Wow.
And so it's definitely a mixed use development project that has a number of different components and tentacles. But again, the key is to demonstrate that we, as African American entrepreneurs, can do business at the next level. And so that will call upon institutional investors, that'll call upon venture capitalists, and a myriad of contractors and
Can you hear me, Mr. Allen?
a number of folks involved in that development over the next 20 years.
Yes, sir. Wow. That is, that is just exciting just to hear that you all and your team and Mr. Allen have that concept, because that's one thing we talk about a lot on this platform is wealth building, right? And the fastest way to wealth building and to giving back to your community is to be an entrepreneur, it's to own a business, right? It's not really to work a 9-to-5 job, but it's to create other opportunities for the people in your community, and to see that, your team, you, Mr. Hampton, Mr. Allen, and all of those over at the AEI are making that happen is wonderful to think about. I want to ask you some more questions about the new Black Wall Street market that is coming very, very soon. Just if for those, you talked about having over 100 vendor spaces, are there still opportunities to potentially get in that? And if so, how can someone reach out and say, hey, I want to be a part of this? How do they make that happen?
Actually, we're right in the middle of that process right now. The first thing that we've got to do is we want to make sure that people have a membership or a lease or a relationship with us that's right size. And so what we're telling folks is right now you can go to our website, www.newblackwallstreetmarket.com. And at that website, it's going to ask you if you'd like to be a merchant. And then you fill out an application, you pay an application fee, and then you go through our vetting process to kind of really figure out where you are in the process of entrepreneurship, because we want to make sure that we get folks in the right type of relationship with us where they can win, right?
Yes.
So then we bring you in and we sit down and we go through space, we go through strategy, we go through making sure that you're in the right moment. But that is actually all happening right now live on our website. I think our first 70 folks have applied at this point. We've had that site open for about 4 to 5 days.
Wow.
And so the response has been really aggressive. We do anticipate having a lot more traction and activity on that site as interviews like this go out and as people begin to get their memberships and actually get set up with us. And so right now we're in the midst of negotiating those deals and bringing in the entrepreneurs who want to work with us right now. So that this show is perfectly timed because we just released this and we just began kind of our public advertising of we're doing memberships, kind of like a WeWork, but it's a marketplace WeWork.
Absolutely. And it sounds like I said, this is just the beginning to something major, right? And I love that for you all. I love that for our community. I love that for the state of Georgia and for, like I said, because economics is key. Like a lot of people don't like to talk about money and a lot of people say, different things are holding them back. But this is a prime example and a prime opportunity for a lot of people to get in early on something that I believe will be very, very special. For those of you joining us, I'm talking to Matthew Hampton of the AEI, of the new Black Wall Street market. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and get this message out to all of our people, and specifically people that could potentially want to be a part of the new Black Wall Street market and be a vendor there. Mr. Hampton, I don't want to keep you all day, but I do have a few more questions.
Oh, no, I'm having fun, man. Let's go.
Okay, well, great. Great. I want to ask about some of the events you all have already had. I saw that you all had a July 4th event. Just tell me about what took place there and if you all have any other events coming up before the actually open of the market.
Yeah, one of the things that we knew we wanted to do is we wanted to, we had to bring in Memorial Day the right way and make sure that we had a positive solution to the burning of our original Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the 100-year anniversary. We just knew that was an opportunity. So in our first event, we had, I think, approximately 50 vendors, and the response was phenomenal. People came out and they spent money with our vendors. Our vendors did very well the first go around, and it was a great start. It was a great way to bring in Memorial Day. After that great success, we expanded our efforts, and the next event we had about 80 vendors and about 14 food trucks. And so the experience got bigger, it got better. People got more excited. The message went further around the world. One of our associates, Sean Ford, that post that you were talking about, he did a very clever post, and he captured this and kind of helped people really understand that it's Black owned and it was a mall. And I think that combination of that post and that communication took our social media from 2,000 to 11,000 overnight.
Wow.
And so we've continued to build energy around this. We've continued to show our community that this is the new place to pull up and to support Black businesses. And so our next effort is going to be Labor Day. We're going to have our grand opening events. And right now we're registering those folks who are going in the market. And we actually will be able to come in and see the market Labor Day. And one of the things that Mr. Allen was very keen on is making sure that this place was first class. I think that when you come in, a lot of people say, "This is going to be a flea market." If it's going to be viewed as a flea market, it's going to be a very high end experience. But we wanted the halls are wide. the finishing touches, the brick is real. Mr. Allen has a way in which he develops things, and we want people to come in with a first class attitude as both business people, customers, and so we want to set the tone as the leaders that we do things in a first class way here in Stonecrest, Georgia.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just like I said, from the images and the videos and the presentations that I've seen, it is going to be top of the line. It is going to be one of the main attractions, not just in the state of Georgia, but I believe across the country for Black people. Because one thing, we've talked about this several times on this platform, is you can go across the country and you can see, Little Italy, Chinatown, and these different like communities in these different sections with all their own shops owned by their own people, right? But that's not the same with Black people. A lot of times when you go to a community of Black people, they call it the hood. You know what I mean? Like it's just being honest. And so to see something that is going to be a community of Black people making money, spending money with each other, circulating our dollar when we spend over $1 trillion in retail every single year. I believe this is, like I said, that we're on the precipice of something special. And I really am excited on what you all are doing, and I can't wait to come see it. So you talked about a soft grand opening. When can we expect that? You said Labor Day. What can we expect? And when do you believe the actual marketplace itself will be completed?
Yeah, so our plan is on that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, September 4th, 5th, and 6th. We will have entertainment. We'll have probably over 100 different vendors, and they'll actually be inside the building. We'll have about 10 to 14 food concepts outside of the building. And our goal is to do a good soft opening and bring people into the building in September. And then our plan is we're going to shut down for a brief period and just fine-tune things, get people all the way prepared, and then we'll be ready to reopen and have a regular schedule starting in October, and then we should be ready to just really make millions of dollars come November. Wow. And so that's kind of the X's and O's of our planned opening. And again, you said so much stuff, and so much I want to say to you. In our community, we all have figured out what the problems are. We've talked about the problems. We've talked about it till we're blue in the face. But it's very important that we go beyond just talking about the problems. And Mr. Allen always says, being able to state the problem, we in our community, we celebrate you for knowing how to state the problem. But really, we've got to start thinking, what are the solutions? Yes. What are ways in which we can strategically move to make sure that we set ourselves up to win? And that's what we're doing with this market. We're setting folks up to win. We're putting folks in a environment to where we anticipate having over $50 million of commerce come through that building in 12 months. So that's $50 million that we're anticipating injecting into Black families. People start living different. They start thinking different. They start moving different when you put $50 million in their pocket, even in a corporate and collective manner. And so as we think about this movement, this is just one strategy. We've got a number of strategies at the Institute that we're working on, and we need partners, and we need those people who are, as we would say, as we say in our community, who really are about that life. You know what I'm saying? And they really are trying to work towards solutions. There are a lot of old paradigms and a lot of old thinking of what we can't do together as a people that we just don't subscribe to. And again, I think that this show and shows like this gives us an opportunity to really communicate and find those other doers in our community who really are trying to take the problems and come up with solutions. And that's what this is all about, folks. We're taking our resources and we're putting them together to really bring about a solution that gives folks some real bottom line results.
Hey, absolutely. Because that's a solution-based, solution-oriented. Not just talking about it, but being about that life. I love everything about that. That's all I'm about. Is because we do enough talking. It's about making things happen, and to see that you all over at the AEI, Mr. Allen, yourself, Mr. Hampton, is bringing solutions to the state of Georgia. And the thing about you all and the new Black Wall Street, once again, I'm talking to Matthew Hampton, project coordinator over the new Black Wall Street that's coming to Stonecrest, Georgia, very, very soon. We're talking about $50 million into the Black community over the next 12 months. I mean, that just gets me shaking, sir. But what you're saying and what you're doing is going to be inspirational, right? Like, you might not see the ramifications of what you all are doing down there in Georgia, maybe not even your lifetime or my lifetime, but in the generations after, that is going to set a precedent that the things of the unlimited, is unlimitedness, like that can come to our community because of the foundation that is being laid right now, what you're doing with the new Black Wall Street. Us, sir, just like I said, a few more questions because I'm enjoying this so much. Once again, this is Matthew Hampton of the AEI in the new Black Wall Street. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. You talked about your website and about how merchants can join and potentially apply for vendorship in the new Black Wall Street. But what else can we learn from going to the blackwallstreet.com? What is all featured on your website?
Well, you hit the nail on the head when you made the statement that you made about our impact on the next generation. But also, when you go to our website, go and look at some of the history. Look at the rich and prosperous businesses that African Americans owned in Greenwood, in the Greenwood district, which was the actual name of what we call affectionately the Black Wall Street market. We have a legacy that's not just like slavery, right? We have a
Yes.
legacy of being the most creative business owners. When we had the opportunity to own land and to be able to put that Wall Street together, we were actually more affluent than the white community in Tulsa. And so we've got to go back and we've got to really make sure that not only are we, basically setting this up for the kids going forward, but also we need to look backwards and look at how awesome things were and how awesome we were as entrepreneurs historically at the new at the old Black Wall Street. And so certainly, yeah, we're setting this up for the future. But there also is a history and a legacy that is very rich. And I think that's the new Black Wall Street. Put in the new Black Wall Street market.com. That's the site that we really want to look at.
Yes, I'm doing that right now. I went to the wrong website. Sorry
It's
about
all,
that.
all good. Well, it's all good information, and there are a
Yeah.
lot of Black Wall Street initiatives out there right now, and we celebrate all of them. We want to make sure that we send people to where we have our value proposition, but we celebrate everybody that's out there working to advance our cause and that are working to advance Black people in business and entrepreneurship. And I think actually that group that you pulled up, they're members, and they actually are going to be locating in the market as well. So you weren't bad off, but you were
Yeah.
successful off.
So I apologize for that. I'm looking. I was like, man, that's not what I'm looking at. It's not the right thing I saw earlier. Yes, the new blackwallstreetmarket.com. I think I finally have it pulled up. You spoke a lot. You've spoken a lot about Mr. Allen and a lot of the things that he has done for not only just our community, not just the community of Georgia, but just for Black people in general. Just for someone, you talked about him getting a start in charter schooling. So it sounds like education is something that's also big with the AEI. Just talk to me about the educational aspect outside of just the new Black Wall Street market, but also with you all's company.
Yeah, well, fundamentally, the Allens, they're teachers. They started off in Detroit as educators, and then they figured out how to create a business around daycares, and they had the Do Re Mi daycares, and that was a brand in Detroit. There was multiple locations around Detroit, and then they got into the charter school business, and that's where the wealth was really built. And so fundamentally, Mr. and Mrs. Allen are really teachers, and
Okay.
being in education. What happened is he saw how the system worked and how they were really focused on test scores. And he said, you know what? I'm not broke and I want to do this the way that I think makes sense for our people. And so I'm going to create a place that has experience-based learning. And the thing that's very important that I want you to understand about that is, you know, you can't teach entrepreneurship out of a book. It's kind of like trying to teach a group of young men who are playing football how to play football and say, let's sit down and study football. You learn football by going out, you learn
Experience.
how to
Yeah.
pass, you learn how to get hit, you learn how to hit. You learn by actually the practice and the experience of football. And we feel that that's the way that you also teach entrepreneurship. And so, again, this is just another of many ways in which Mr. Allen has tried to provide people with experience-based education. See, the entrepreneurs going through our system right now trying to apply for this market, they're learning because we're asking them all those fundamental questions. We're making them deal with tough things that they may not know. but they're learning right now as they work to get in this market. And the best way to learn entrepreneurship is you got to get out there, you got to play this game. And so that's what we're doing. Is that this is actually a entrepreneurial experiment, experiential education experiment for us. But we also feel like this is how you really start cultivating that entrepreneurial talent that we know exists in our community.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a great analogy. I'm a big sports guy, and so when we talk about explaining football, you do some X's and O's on the graph, but the execution is going out there and doing it. It's trial and error. You learn how to be a running back, like you said, by getting a handoff and getting hit. Running through the holes, and you do it by example. And to hear that's like basically being an entrepreneur in that kind of as in that visual is great, because it breaks it down in a lot of ways for a lot of people. And it's amazing to hear what you all are doing. I think I finally got the right website, and I want you, Mr. Hampton, to just kind of talk to me about some of the things that we see on this website. So we see like a visual of what the market will actually look like. It looks like the application process.
Yeah. And then what you do, you see right there, it says, would you like to be a merchant? Click that button.
Would you like to be a request merchant information?
Yeah.
Yes, right here.
Okay, I think you hit careers, actually.
Okay.
So that's if you want a job, if you want to work with us.
That's awesome.
Go to that.
And so I see a lot of I see merchants down here is a tab.
There we go. So this is a merchant-based membership site. So when you get here, you'll be at this column. You'll say merchant memberships. And then it has review information, complete, and submit. And so it's just that simple. You click on those buttons. We're going to ask you just a few simple questions initially. You'll complete your application. And then there'll be a portion where you submit an application fee. We have over 3,000 people trying to get in the market right now. So we did put that application fee there so we can kind of separate out those who are curious from those who are serious. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is after you go through this process, you then get our online digital application process where we really vet you. And that's where you go through a lot of the deep dive questions about where you are in the entrepreneurial cycle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's helpful, and it gives people the ability to see exactly what they should be looking at in order to get into our system. So I appreciate you pulling up this site for us.
Hey, it's no problem. No problem. I see right here is the tab about Black Wall Street history. And I think this is what you were alluding to earlier about, giving the history of Tulsa. It says the Greenwood District, how the Greenwood District was born and everything that took place there. I think this is very important because these are, with all the critical race theories thing going on in Congress right now, and all of the, Texas State Senate saying the KKK wasn't morally wrong, to have a history lesson on here. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing, but this is where we come from. I believe is amazing that you all are doing right here on the website.
Yeah. And one of the things that Mr. Allen has always said as we think about our young people and going future forward, we know the most powerful tool right now is the internet when it comes to e-commerce and when it comes to doing business. And one of the great things about selling a product online is, in a lot of ways, we can take race out of the equation. We can just do a really good job designing a dope product. We can put it online and we can sell it. And there are young men like the guys who own to Linus, two young men out of Mobile, Alabama. They built a multi-million-dollar streetwear company, and they used their creativity and they used what they had in order to scale it into a multi-million-dollar business today. And so the future of entrepreneurship is making sure that we are planting seeds in our kids' minds that says you're able to do this. You actually are great at this. We're the most creative. All the culture comes from our creativity, our coolness, our swag, our whatever. And what happens is that other people have just always figured out how to monetize it. Our job is to figure out how to just monetize. If we just monetize our own cool as a community, we'll be all right. And
absolutely.
So, again, this is all about just dispelling the myth, that old adage that Black folks can't work together. That old adage that says that we can't be the owners. We got to just be the workers or the creators. No, we can create and own. And we see our celebrities owning more of their content. And that's
Yes.
something that should trickle down into our community in a lot of different ways. And that's what we're all about. And that's what we're trying to achieve with this new Black Wall Street market.
Absolutely. Once again, I'm talking to Matthew Hampton, project coordinator of the new Black Wall Street. Is something coming to Stonecrest, Georgia. It is something that's going to put $50 million over the next 12 months into the Black community. I can't say that enough. And if it's just 50 million over the next 12 months, just imagine over the next decade, right? Over the next 50 years, over the next century. I'm super excited. Mr. Hampton, I appreciate you coming, taking the time out of your day. I'll let you get the last word. Is there any final thoughts that you'd like to say about AEI that you all have going on, or with the new Black Wall Street coming to Stonecrest, Georgia?
Yeah, we want to encourage people in our community to apply and to learn about this rich legacy that we have. We also want to be very realistic and let folks in our community know that we're ultimately business fundamentalists, and that we believe if you follow the fundamentals of business, you can be successful. And so we know that some of this process is going to be difficult. There are going to be questions, there are going to be fears. But we want you guys to continue to go on this journey with us as merchants, as customers. Come to the events, share the posts, become a part of the movement in whatever way you can. And we all are family here, and there are going to be some difficult parts on this journey. But we think that this journey is well worth it because, again, not only are we going to be putting money in the pockets of families today and making families, our Black families, better today, but we are, as you said, we're planting seeds for our future. And this future, we should be able to do a heck of a lot more than 50 million a year. We should be talking $500 million a year. We should be talking billions of dollars a year on platforms like this. And so, we're excited about the journey. We're excited about where we are today. We know we have a long road ahead of us, but together with patience and positivity, we think that this really can serve as the model for how you develop Black businesses and how you ultimately develop our community. And so, again, this is a worthwhile cause. This is going to be a journey, but we are looking forward to this, taking this journey with some good folks like yourself, Jeff, and the folks on your team. And we just want to thank you for reaching out. And we hope that all the listeners who get this content will at least go and visit our website, share it with a friend who needs to be involved in this, or join our movement in whatever way that works for you.
Absolutely. Once again, this is Mr. Matthew Hampton of the New Black Wall Street. Go check out the New Black Wall Street Market at newblackwallstreetmarket.com. It is right there. Take a screenshot, share the video, let everybody know that this is something coming very, very soon. We're talking the start of September to Stonecrest, Georgia. For all of those, I know you all are going to be having people from across the country that are going to come and celebrate with you on September 5th. I am someone going to travel from Kentucky and going to check out that soft opening because I am super excited about what's taking place with you all. Thank you so much, Mr. Hampton, for joining me. And be sure to hit the thumbs up button. You all share this video to everybody so they can know about the new Black Wall Street Market that is taking place right here in the state of Georgia, right in Stonecrest, Georgia. Thank you all for joining us, and I will see you next time. Peace.